Okay, so GreenFirst Forest Products just dropped a report with a pretty massive loss. But here's the thing. Is this a sign of a sinking ship, or is this actually a company getting ready to, set sail? Today, we're going to dig into their latest earnings report and really uncover the story behind these numbers. And yeah, the story kicks off right here. A negative $32.8 million, that's the net loss in just one quarter. I mean, that's a huge figure, right? It definitely demands an explanation. So what exactly went wrong? That's the mystery we are going to try and unravel today.
All right, so let's break down what actually drove this loss. Turns out it wasn't just one single thing. It was more like a perfect storm of factors all hitting at the exact same time.
I mean, just try to picture this for a second. On one hand, you've got lumber prices, their main product, just in total free fall. Then, on the other hand, the cost to actually export that lumber skyrocketing. And all of this is happening while they're also dealing with the internal costs of making some pretty major operational changes. That is a brutal, brutal combination for any company to face.
Okay, now let's zoom in on the two biggest external factors here. You could almost call them the villains of this story. These are some really powerful market forces that honestly, GreenFirst had very little control over.
So first up, plunging lumber prices. We're talking a yearly low in December. And at the exact same time, they were getting hammered by these crushing U.S. tariffs and duties. This two-front battle is really right at the heart of their Q4 loss. And the sheer scale of those duties, it's just staggering. We're talking a combined rate of around 45%. Just think about that. Imagine nearly half the value of your product is just gone before you even see a dime of profit. That is a massive, massive burden on every single sale they make into the U.S. market.
And look, you don't have to take my word for it. The CEO, Joel Fournier, he came right out and called it a challenging quarter. He pointed directly to those rock-bottom market prices in December. It just goes to show you the immense external pressure they were really under. So you're faced with this brutal market. What do, right? You can't just change global trade policy on a whim. But what you can change is your own internal strategy, and that is exactly where GreenFirst decided to pivot their focus. So here's how they fought back. First, they cut production. Smart move to avoid selling into a really weak market. Then, their own employees drove these initiatives that generated $7 million in EBITDA gains. And they made a strategic shift in sales, boosting their volume to home centers by 30%. Why? To tap into that more stable repair and remodeling market. Really smart.
But, playing defense alone doesn't win the game. And this is where the story really starts to shift. GreenFirst didn't just cut back and hunker down. No, they made a massive strategic bet on their future.
And what was the centerpiece of that bet? A huge modernization project at their sawmill up in Chapleau, Ontario. And we're not talking about just a minor upgrade here. This is a complete overhaul designed to boost their efficiency and, of course, their profitability for years and years to come. So the project is unfolding in these really clear stages. The physical installation, that's done. The commissioning phase, where they're getting everything running, well underway. And the final ramp up to full production, well, that's targeted for Q2 2026. So they're making steady, measurable progress. And you know what? The results so far are actually pretty impressive. The whole project is on track to come in under budget. Plus, it secured $6 million in support from the provincial government. And get this, even while they're still in this ramp-up phase, it's already hitting 80% of its production target. I mean, these are all incredibly positive signs. Okay, but of course, making a major investment like this during a market downturn, well, that requires some serious financial strength. So GreenFirst's next move was all about fortifying their balance sheet, making sure they had the cash to actually see their strategy all the way through. And they didn't wait for a crisis to hit. They went out and proactively secured new financing. That includes a $30 million loan from the government's softwood lumber program. So this move, it wasn't just about survival. It was really about building a much stronger foundation for future growth. And you can see the result of that proactive approach right here. Their total borrowing capacity, it jumped from $72 million at the end of 2024 to $107 million just 1 year later. That is a significant increase in their financial firepower. It gives them the runway they need to navigate this market and, crucially, finish their big projects. So, after digging into that loss, understanding their new strategy, and seeing how they reinforce their finances, what does it all mean for the future? Okay, let's bring it all together.
All right, here's the bottom line. That Q4 loss, yeah, it was a major challenge, no doubt, but it seems like it really set the stage for a strategic comeback. That Chapleau project is clearly the key to their future, and now they've secured the cash to see it through. So while the market outlook is still a little cautious, GreenFirst has definitely positioned itself to capitalize on any kind of upswing.
And that leaves us with the one big question, right? GreenFirst has weathered a perfect storm. They've controlled what they can control, and they've invested in a brand new state-of-the-art mill. So have they done enough to turn these powerful market headwinds into a tailwind for future growth? Well, only time will tell.